do you think your body count is?
Three digits. 4 digits. Let me just like remind myself of all the times that I've had. I would probably say like within like 200s.
Oh, wow.
Around like 200 or so. Yeah, give or take. A lot of giving, a lot of taking, you know?
Yeah.
The musk and the feeling of like dominancy and like connectivity.
From the armpit?
From the armpit, yeah. It's like just that sweat. There's something. It's almost like their own cologne. You're just like, let me get like that in a bottle and like spray it on me.
Oh my gosh.
I love doing like a Jennifer Coolidge impression, and I would love to like do like a like have and just like let me just say some like Jennifer Coolidge phrases in bed. Oh yeah, give me that hot dog, baby. Oh.
Yeah, that's actually the funniest podcast I've ever filmed, bro. Welcome to the Boss Talks podcast. It's Bossman here, and today I have a cool guest. If you've ever seen my page, my blue page, you might recognize him. So, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Chris Stewart. You may have seen me on Twitter, maybe on TikTok recently. I'm just a little old guy just here chatting about meeting up with a good friend.
So obviously, you know, you do OF. How long have you been doing it for?
For almost about 5 years now. I consider myself to be a pandemic baby. Started right at the start of the pandemic. I was like, no one's ever going to see me again, so I might as well start showing a hole. Sorry, Auntie.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Yeah, I don't even think I was old enough, but I don't know. Now I'm here. I heard that like it was kind of popping in the pandemic. What do you think?
It was because literally like you couldn't go out, you couldn't go about. It was just like you, yourself, and your hands. So it was like you had to make do with what you got. And I was like, well, I'll be your other hand, okay? Mm-hmm. You know?
So what was you doing before that?
I was a server at Red Lobster. I started off as host, and now I still don't host at all.
Yeah.
No hosting at my place. But I was a server at Lobster. I was doing that for about a year now. And, you know, I enjoyed it. But in regards to, like, I think as most people do when it comes to OF is, like, money. It's just, like, you can't really beat that. You get the best part about, like, doing OF is that you are kind of, like, your own boss. You don't have anybody speaking up above you telling you what to do. That's like one of my biggest hardest things to like get over is like somebody being like, you should do this or you should do that. And whether it's like nice or not, I'm like, I didn't come up with this idea. Right. I don't like this anymore. It's like when you're like, remember when you're like a child and you were like you were about to go do dishes, but then your mom is like, as you're about to go do dishes, your mom's like, go do the dishes. And you're like, well, now I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. So is money, is that what got you into it?
I would say it's a big portion of it. I also, from the town that I was raised in, there wasn't really much like queer related stuff or like many people that were out and able to like express themselves sexually. And so for me, being a little more sheltered in that aspect, it was also a way for me to kind of like express myself, be able to show off myself a little bit more and feel like I can like be part of the community and feel a little more open about it. And it seems like everybody's been very receptive about like my content and such. And so it feels like the way that it feels is very validating to go from being very sheltered and kind of isolated, staying in your room after work sort of gig, to now kind of like being out and about, more of a social butterfly and like wanting to actually hang out with people. It's a great change.
Yeah. So I got into like obviously money, but for the love of the game, bro. Like I was doing it for free, you know, like since I was like in high school, you know, I was doing that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, you're like, well, why am I not getting paid for this sort of thing? Yeah.
So like when I was in high school, I used to do this thing. It was called Shout Out for Shout Out, and I do it on Snapchat. It was like they just post me, like, go add my boy. They tag me, and so
those are old terms that I.
Yeah, no, it was so old, bro. I was so young.
That's like boomer terms nowadays.
Yeah,
like, you remember Shout Out for Shout Out? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's kind of cringy to think about it now, but like, so I was getting like, you know, 10,000 views on my stories, but what's cool about that is like, so obviously a lot of them were like girls and like guys from like different states all over the country, like different countries. And, you know, so there'd be guys and, you know, they would just send me money to, you know, just kind of do what I'm doing now. And I would. So like have like these little girlfriends like in high school, and I'd like send them videos of me just clapping their cheeks, and they'd send me like hundreds of dollars.
My God.
But I was working at Sonic at the time, so it's like I needed the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. I was also a person who just did it like for free. Of like, let me just like send this to somebody. But also like looking back, where I'm like 18, looking like I'm a 15-year-old, because it took a while for like my body to actually show me like, oh, now you look 26. When I was 18, I looked like I was still like a child, and so like being on like apps like Grindr and such, it's very interesting to look back to be like, oh, you 35-year-old wanted me to send my 18-year-old pics to you. You're like, huh, okay. Reflecting on that back now, you're like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I regret it now because like I was underage.
Exactly.
I was my underage stuff. Like
I
at
was
the time,
18, but I felt
underage
underage sending that things now. I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of creepy. You know?
Yeah, I didn't even realize at the time. Like, I'm sending them underage porn right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, looking back, it's a little weird, but I don't know. Nothing I can do about it now.
No, you can't do it now. I mean, we're in better spots anyway, so.
100%. So have you had, do you have any like cool stories about doing OF? Like, have you ever been recognized? Like, ever met someone off of it?
It has been interesting to, for multiple occasions where you're just kind of like out and about. Like, for example, I think it was like the day or two before graduating. I was waiting outside an office for my teacher to get like feedback on like a project of mine. And some guy like from the same school walks past me. And like, I think nothing of it because he just like, it's another student walking down the hall. He proceeds like 5 minutes later to walk back. And he's like, "Are you Chris Stewart?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "Can we take a picture?" And I don't know how to like express the feeling of like being like just randomly recognized sometimes, but it's so cool to kind of like be like, oh, I somehow made an impact. Or like in other occasions, like at the clubs and such, you'll have like a guy come up to you and he's like, "I love your sour candy video," and then do the little hand thing. I'm like, the little hand motion. Okay, and now it's a little trendy. I love that. So it is wild to kind of like see other people like, again, publicly like validate you in a certain sort of way to kind of be like, you're doing something, we appreciate it, continue doing it.
Yeah. So like, do you get recognized in WeHo a lot?
Yeah, for the most part. Yep.
Yeah, I've only been there like a few times since I guess I got indie following, but I want to go there tonight, see if anyone might know me. But what did you say your sexuality is?
I always say I'm like 99.9% gay with like that 0.1% of like exploring other genders, you know? Like I for the most part, like, yes, like dick and cock, yes, of course. Sucking dick and cock, yeah, of course. But then like there's always that time where it's like, well, let me just explore other things and like check out like the straight category on like an explicit site just to kind of like see what's in there, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, it's fun because it's like sometimes you need to look at other things to go, wait, no, I actually do like butts. I like man butts, you know?
Yeah. So you wouldn't do anything with the girl? Like off camera, like in your free time?
Oh, off camera? No. On camera has been like for possible discussion. But no, not off camera. Nar.
Well, I feel it wouldn't really be beneficial. I feel like it doesn't ever convert like the straight stuff, like most of the times.
Yeah, no, I've never done it before, so like I have no understanding of like how straight content even functions. That's beyond foreign to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really collab with girls ever, but never done studio stuff. You just started, you know, working at Red Lobster and then getting an OF. So, I guess, what do you think your body count is?
3 digits, 4 digits. Let me just like remind myself of all the times that I've had. Many. I would probably say like within like 200s.
Oh wow.
Around like 200 or so. Yeah, give or take. A lot of giving, a lot of taking, you know?
Yeah. So, if you guys haven't seen our video before, we actually, you know, made one, you know, to add on there. So technically I'm on that list.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, you are on that list.
That's crazy to even think about. Man,
you might have been number 100. You might have been the 100th video. Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. It's funny because like where I'm from, like if someone said 200, they'd be like, "What?"
And they're like, really? Just 200?
Like 600.
That was like last night, you know?
Yeah, no, it's I feel like, in gay culture it's a lot different because, like in my personal life, like it's really just girls, and it's like if I told a girl 200, like they just unadd me.
Oh, you would have been swiped left beforehand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely just blocked. Like, because that is a lot. Like if you think about it, because imagine you look down from a balcony and just see 200 people. They're all saying, Chris. Can you imagine that?
I would love to imagine that, but yes.
I just think that'd be funny. Like, because I like, sometimes I look at followers and stuff, and like it never really like entertains me, but I just think I'm like, man, imagine if I had 77,000 people just like looking down saying, boss man.
I have this vision of like again, like I'm like 450,000, like that's a lot of followers to have on Twitter. But then also like imagine like a Taylor Swift stadium's worth just watching you, like you're in the center stage and you're just jerking off, and they're all like, woo! It's wild to just like gauge the amount of numbers of people that like actually know you.
Yeah, it's really insane to think about. But it's really cool because you never know who knows you, and I don't know.
And do you want them to know you?
Somewhat. So have you? I know you don't have a chat team. So what's like when you first started? How'd you react when you got asked something like crazy? Because I know you're pretty open, but has someone just asked you something that's like just absolutely insane?
There is a certain thing, like again, I am pretty open, I would say, to that sort of like general content, as long as it's within like OF's like restrictions and such.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that I just will never sort of associate to, which is like slave porn. That stuff is like, I'm not comfortable with the idea of like ownership of like a human being, or like making it feel like, oh, there's like a belittlement. Like I do enjoy like sub-dom stuff, but like the actual idea of like, you're my slave, like I hate that word so much. It is something I don't like to say. Like I don't like, outside of like the content right here that are on this podcast, like I never say that word outside of here.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's I wouldn't say I'm really into that BDSM stuff either, but I guess I'd be open to it.
I feel like there would be a difference between like BDSM, like sort of, and then like, I don't know. I think it's just like using the actual term like slave. Just because
it's just that word?
It's just like using the association of like calling someone like your slave. It's just like, not my thing.
I understand that. What's the craziest thing you've done with a guy on camera?
Ooh.
Any crazy gangbangs?
Let me think about that, because when I go into my scenes, I always like bring in like a certain idea or something to like already like mentally prepare myself. That's a really good question, because there's not one that really like pops off the top of my mind. I can't really think of one right now.
Dang, that's tragic.
That's tragic.
I wonder. I guess like the craziest thing, that I've probably done is, so everyone knows I'm straight, but I'm gay for pay and whatnot. I'd say the craziest thing is like, it was like when I first started doing like the guy stuff, there's like this, do you know who Harley Xavier is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So it was like me, Timothy Champagne, and I don't remember the other guy, but we took turns clapping Harley's cheeks. And I just thought that was crazy, because I was like, man, like a year ago, if you would have told me I'd be doing this kind of stuff, I'd be like, oh. There's no way. And then that's like the craziest thing I've probably done in my life. Like, that was weird.
I wish I'm literally like blanking on anything that's been like wild per se. Like I try to keep things within like OF's regulations, so it's like I don't do any like public play of sorts.
Right. Yeah. Now they shut that down real quick.
Yeah. I would like stare stuff I would love to do, but like, again, like I'm too scared of that sort of stuff. I'm like, I don't want my account banned. That's where
it's really hard to get banned on there, I think. So you gotta do something really bad.
I think it's more so like fun seeing like the other performers like interest in like my creative process, especially for like, I like to call them TikToks. They're like TikTok transitions into like not safe for work sort of content. And so like again, like the Sour Candy video, it started off with like me lip syncing the song Sour Candy by Lady Gaga. And at one point I like put my fingers into the front, open them up, and it transitions into my legs opening up, showing like my donger just like erect and like throbbing and like pulsing to the beat of the song. And
Did you
like
post that on Twitter?
I posted that on Twitter.
Check it out.
And it's my it's on my pin. It's my biggest video so far. And I will sometimes be like, I swear somebody has shown this to Lady Gaga already. I'm convinced that she's seen it at this point. I'm like, I'm sorry, girl, but I'm sure she understands.
Yeah, it got a lot of views.
A lot, yeah. I think this was before Twitter actually showed you like your impersonation count, and so like I can only really just imagine. It's been around for like 3 years now, so it's been collecting the numbers.
Interesting. So, what would you say the craziest custom that you've been requested is?
That I have been requested or I've done?
Requested.
It's
like just something crazy that probably would violate the guidelines that someone just asked you.
It has to be. It falls under like the slave stuff, but it also incorporate like being asked to do like race play sort of thing. Slave race play. I feel like I don't even need to describe like why that's wrong. Like please in comments, like you don't even ask why it's wrong. I feel like you should already know why that's such a wrong thing to be asked in the first place. I don't even respond to that. I'm just like, no, we're good there.
Imagine you make that video and they just save it and start posting it on everything.
I can't even like my moral levels just will not let me. Like there's like two, like you know how people have like an angel and a devil. Mine's like two little angels have been like, don't do it. Yeah. I can't. I think the other craziest request I would guess I would be say would be I don't know what the term for it is, but it's almost like a fetishization of you being like a small person, like a very like small thing, not like small in height, but just like everything small, like you're like this little guy. And I did this video, and I like brought my camera all the way up to my ceiling, kind of like pull it out to make me look as tiny as possible, and he wanted me to kind of like be in my bed and be like, look at how tiny I am, aren't I so small, you could squish my fingers. And like I'm like I was like, sure, I'll do this because I'm very open to it. It's not too off-putting, but that's of course like not my thing. But I'm curious to like understand, like, if somebody is interested in something like that, let me know what is the fascination for it, because I'm still very curious.
Yeah, well, I get curious too, because like a lot of guys, they like armpits.
I love a good armpit.
Really?
I do.
Tell me about it.
It's a pheromone thing. It 100% is just like the musk and the feeling of like dominancy and like connectivity
from the armpit.
Yeah, it's like just that sweat. There's something. It's almost like their own cologne. You're just like, let me get like that in a bottle and like spray it on me.
Oh my gosh. So like, what about like the looks of it? Like, do you think it looks good?
It looks like people are like. I think the armpit looks good. I don't know.
Because like, why do people ask for armpit pictures? Because like they can't smell it through the phone, obviously. So why do you think they just want to see it?
I don't know. Like it's the same question for like feet pic. Like, do you like feet? Would you
Not
say
like that? No.
Do you like girl armpits? Have you ever thought about it?
No.
Maybe they had armpit hair on it, you know, a little bit of sweat. No. Yeah.
Man,
see, you're just look at your reaction to you just visualizing it. Now imagine the guy just having to visualize that. Like you got your answer right there.
Yeah. I guess I never thought about it. I guess girls do got some cute armpits, man. If I ever hung out with the girl, man, all she had
cute armpit
hair.
Pics. Girlies, send them cute armpit pics.
She had armpit hair. I'm caking her out. I'm so for real.
Come to my place. That 0.1%.
That's actually so funny. So, the custom you described earlier, is that the craziest one you've done?
I guess that would have to be the craziest one. Craziest one I've done. I think so. I would have to say something like that. In regards to like ones that I wouldn't say proud of, but like ones that I'm like willing to like discuss, because there's of course some that are like, you look like when you're young and you're starting it out, you're willing to do a lot of things, kind of like get yourself out there.
Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, what were you doing? 5-year future me is hating you so much right now. Yeah. And that is still lingering on in the past. And you're just like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Like there's just like 1 or 2 videos where I'm like, I should not.
How many times do you think you like come in a day on average? 'Cause I know you work out a lot, so I don't know if it'd make it higher or lower. Or...
Ooh, well, lately probably like 3 times a day,
Really?
something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
You gotta
Not crazy. That's cool.
Especially when you're that's cool. Especially when you're like playing like video games and you get frustrated and you're like, oh my god, I need to let out that tension, mama.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, show me some men real quick, and that you just need a stress reliever sometimes. No, lately I've been like, because I would for the longest time like jerk off with my hand. But as many people probably know, like sometimes you can choke the rooster a little too much. You lose that sensitivity. And if I'm like wanting to do a topping scene, I have to either like take some Viagra or just like am unable to get it up because I've just associated so much to like tight grip handness that like a hole is not tight enough anymore. And that's sad. That's a sad story.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone have that problem before. That's actually interesting.
And so nowadays I've been, I have a fleshlight that I intentionally use like hands free, just like fuck into while watching videos to kind of just get my brain to like reassociate myself. I'm very much like a mental body, sort of like what are things I need to adjust in my life to kind of like benefit me properly. Like I'm like very physiological, like down to like realism sort of things, not like auras or mantras or stuff. I'm like, all right, the brain is connecting these like neuron sensitivities or like your nerves in your penis are like more desensitized. So it's like I am like finding ways to like realistic approaches to like allow myself to, you know, come more. I will say, especially like I find myself like blowing much bigger loads when I'm fucking that fleshlight. Like it is a while, like because you like come in it and you're like, I don't know, because there's a little mystery to it. Because after you come inside the fleshlight, you don't know how much is in there yet until you like dump it out, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's like a couple. That's quite a few tablespoons right there.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I have a company send me one to like review it for them and like do like an Instagram post for it. Dude, that thing is awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome, man. Because I try to get a nut out at least once a day just so I can focus. You know,
the focus nut. Yeah. Everyone knows
like,
it.
It's like one of that scenes. She's like, man, we jerk off 3 times a day around here because it like keeps you on your grind. So it's like that, man. Because it's like, I guess you probably wouldn't know, but like in Tennessee, they'll have like these coon hunting like events, and like people will jack their dogs off so they like perform better. I know that's crazy, but like they'll do that so they perform better.
What?
Because if not, they'll be like just bullshitting around, like looking for a girlfriend.
I'm sorry, they'll what? Like with their hand, or do they have like?
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't even know why I brought that up. Look, so
I think you're about to get a customer request for that.
I hope not. No, I've never done it. Like I've never done that, but like my friends that used to do it, like they would do that, and I'm like, that's like really weird.
Girl,
but they'll win like money. Like they'll win like 4-wheelers, dirt bikes. One of them, he was like 15. He won like $5,000. He's like, yeah, all I did was jerking off.
Oh my god, that's wild.
Yeah, and then that's the same friend that roasted me for doing OnlyFans. So.
Well, look at him now.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. But yeah, the fleshlight, I guess it's called. It's like that. It's like a machine-looking thing. It's got the grip. I don't know, dude. That thing is awesome, man.
I have seen some wild ones so far where they're like, there is one that I guess is like prototype where now where it's like VR sensitive. So you like put it on your dick. It has 2 handles, like you're about to go like on a roller coaster ride.
Oh my god!
It has like a display. Like you put your phone on it, it connects to your phone, and then it like tries to like visualize or like it tries to sense like the penetration scene, and so it will like motion move to like the video, so like you're almost like realistically living through it. I'm like, we're never gonna fuck real people ever again, are we?
Yeah, no, that's so hard. But what I like about it, man, is like if a girl leaves me undelivered too long, or if like a girl ghosts me or something, man, I would go pop that out, man.
Yeah.
The fleshlight, dude, I go crazy, bro. And it's like, then as soon as I nut, I'm like, I don't even care.
Exactly. You
Like,
got that post-nut clarity. You're like, oh, okay.
No, seriously, like
sometimes you're like, I want to marry somebody, and then you nut, and you're like,
nah,
single, I'm good.
Yeah, and anytime a girl's like, man, like just leaving me undelivered, you know, just bullshitting, I go get a nut out.
Don't worry, I'll deliver
Don't
a nut.
care
Yeah,
after that.
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, so that always bothers me, but goes away. Do you have anything like in bed specific that you're really into, like fetish or like just something that you always like?
I don't know what it is about my nipples, like not even just both nipples, specifically just my left nipple, but there is something so sensitive about it. It
Mm-hmm.
is like it hits a certain nerve inside of my body that
Mm-hmm.
like it almost it's a weird like nostalgia. It almost falls into like nostalgia feeling, and it's so bewildering because it's just like I don't know. Are your nipples sensitive?
No, I've never, like, I didn't realize people really like that till I got in this line of work, and I'm like, oh, you guys
Like,
really like that stuff.
For a while, I think I was just rubbing my like my right nipple and nothing was really happening. But like when you get that like left nipple, it's like your full body like gets pulled under and you're just like sunken back and your body's just like there. And I mean this in a good way. It's a really good sensation where you're just like sort of almost like losing control of yourself. But I like that sort of stuff. I love stuff where just like your legs are like tied. I do like a little bit of bondage where like your legs are tied back and letting somebody else like do all the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that sort of stuff. It makes me feel lazy. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's literally just like I don't want to use any. It's like I don't want to use any of my energy for the day. I'll let you do it for me, and it's such a good feeling.
Huh. So does it like turn you on, kind of? Like sexually?
I think so. It's a weird one because it both sexually excites me, but also at the same time, like it makes me sad.
Sad?
I don't know. I think I think there's a term for it. I think it's literally I've looked this up. I think it's called like sad nipple syndrome or something.
What?
It's literally I think it's literally called sad nipple syndrome, where like you get this like certain like emotion like out of you, like where you're like like you get this like arousal feeling. But then at the same time, you get this like feeling of like sadness or like regret.
Huh. I don't know.
Not
I've never heard this.
not
I've
everybody.
never heard this in my
Not
life.
everybody gets it. I am
No.
somehow, fortunately and unfortunately, one of those people who has it. It is literally called sad nipple syndrome, and like you get this feeling of regret. But also, I'm like, does that turn me on? That like, because like, especially again, like queerness, where it's like the taboo of like this feels wrong, but it feels so right because like we've been so like withheld for like, especially when like what the like early 2000s were like queerness and such wasn't really like accepted, and so like you would kind of have to like hide it, and so like seeing like any like gay related stuff always felt a little like wrong, but because of that it's like that it feels so wrong but it feels so right feeling. And so I think that's maybe like where it associates to is like, oh, this feels so wrong, but it feels so right.
Yeah.
I want somebody to like. Here's the thing. I like, and speaking of like the weirdest things to like do in bed, I would love to. And somebody, please say that you would love to do this too. I love doing like a Jennifer Coolidge impression, and I would love to like do like a like have sex and just like let me just say some like Jennifer Coolidge phrases in bed. Just like not even just like out of like sexual interest, but just like I want just like the funness of it. Like
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, give me that hot dog, baby. Oh.
Yeah, that's actually the funniest podcast I've ever filmed, bro. And it is. I was not expecting this today. But something that I really like about you specifically is you've answered a lot of the questions before I even asked.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I am someone who just likes to talk a lot. In the are you okay?
Yeah, I just spilled water on
Did you just okay? Just air it out. It's okay. It's okay. No, I sometimes if there's like a certain topic that like I like to just like comes up to my brain, like there'll always be like little dells within that kind of like spread out and branch out, and that's kind of like how when it comes to, like my creative process sort of like beholds. It's like I'll come up like with one thing or I'll find inspiration for something, and then that'll just start like to branch out like to other ideas, whether it's like based on my other things that I've done before, other experiences, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's just kind of like how my brain works. It's always like branching out into things. And that's also like to an extent like a fault, because like one of my biggest issues that I tend to face is like I have such like hone in like focus on one thing for like 2 weeks. Like I'll find something new. I'm like, I love this. This is my favorite thing in the world. Like Parmesan chicken, my favorite for 2 weeks.
That's actually my favorite.
For
food.
2
Yeah,
weeks.
chicken parm.
And then literally in chicken parm, good old chicken. What are you having? It's like lunch, breakfast, dinner. What are you having? Chicken parm. What are you having? Chicken parm. What are you having? Chicken parm. 2 weeks go by. Like, are you going to have chicken parm? No, I fucking hate that. No, give me
Yeah.
a bagel now. It's my brain literally like gets bored so quickly that like it needs a new, like I consider myself like a personality to kind of like be like novelty. I love novelty. I love things that are like new and stimulating, but only for like short periods of time. But during that short period of time, it is fascinating. It is all I'm interested in.
Interesting. So you get bored fast. Do you have a boyfriend or anything?
I do, yeah. That's an interesting transition. You get bored fast. Do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah, the timing could have been a little better.
No, he's great. Yeah, no, I'm not bored of him yet. I'm good.
Yeah,
It's
oh my
2 weeks, 2 years, who knows? It's okay. No, I love
Yeah.
him. He's great.
That's actually funny. So I guess before you met him, obviously, was there ever a time you like, was this ever down bad? Like you was just really horny or something, so you just like banged someone ugly? Like, have you ever done that?
Here's the thing. I don't really consider like this is. We can get into like a bigger topic about like pretty and ugly sort of things because like that's all subjective. Like
Right.
someone who might be considered ugly as somebody is very pretty to somebody else. But I also just like I don't like gauging that sort of level of like yes, like to an extent, especially when it comes to porn, there is certain like facial features that are just like naturally like or what is it like systematically or whatever like just seen as more appreciated and like will generally gravitate towards more for like especially like OnlyFans like there's a little more shallowness to it, but like everybody's face is gonna end up looking different. Everybody's gonna just be a little different, but that should not be like the barrier to kind of be like, oh, I don't care, I'm just gonna like fuck you sort of thing. Like I'm all like at the end of the day, like I generally would fuck like any guy, but mostly in regards to like personality and like how like are they a nice person? What is like their like like hobbies and such? Like do I have like my own things that like will get me like hornier than others? Like of course, like I think everybody has their own personal taste and such, but I wouldn't really like I don't want to consider somebody to be like ugly or pretty or whatever.
Or is there any that you like regret at all?
Here's my answer to this. I don't think there's anybody that I regret fucking at the time because in that moment there was nothing to regret at that time. Like maybe now there could be things to be like, maybe that should be different. But I'm thinking about like where was my headspace in that moment? Did I want to like what was the reasoning for it? Like I can like reason out like why I was like sort of in that moment or in that mood for certain things, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I wouldn't say I've like fully like regretted any fucking so far.
Yeah.
So far. Like that could that change?
Interesting.
Maybe.
I like that. Man, you're probably the funnest guest I've had. I'm going to be so honest.
What? Never.
Yeah, this is definitely a good conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I guess we'll wrap it up. Do you want to plug your socials or anything?
Yeah. If I remember all of them, they're all very different. Twitter is @Mechrological. Onlyfans.com/StuartChris, or my free version, onlyfans.com/StuartChris free. Let me check my Instagram.
all will be in the description.
They're all in the description, exactly. They're all just my accounts are just wild in and out. But yes, you can check me out all in the link below.
I'm Bossman Bates, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Deuces.
Peace.